animals in our area, and part of that is I was able to use this hawk for programs. Now he is not a releasable hawk. He is a bird that's in captivity for his life. He was taken illegally when he was just a little baby bird from the nest. He was only about this big. He was a little fluffy chick, and somebody took him illegally, and they raised him until he was about 6 or 7 months old. Hang on a second. And then Fish and Game confiscated him, and he needed a place to live. He doesn't know how to hunt for his food. He doesn't know how to look for a mate. He doesn't know how to look for shelter. So Fish and Game said, can you keep him, feed him, and use him for programs because he can't be released? And we've been doing that for about 14 years now. So this hawk has been with us for about 14 years. His name is Starr. I like to point out to people that even though he's been raised by people, and I've been using him for 14 years, he is not a pet. So it's not like your dog or cat that seeks out your company and he wants to be, chucked on the chin and told he's cute or whatever. This is a wild animal. And what I have with him is a working relationship. So I bring out 2 to 3 mice every day for him. And he lets me bring him out and show him off a little bit like this.
Wow.
Now he is on a leash, so if he should happen to feel the wind or whatever and fly off my fist, he's on a leash, so he should come right back upstairs. Okay, now he is one of our more common hawks. This is a red-tail hawk, and you can see he has kind of a rusty red tail. So this is one of the more common hawks that we'll see in our area. Now we have these 2 nesting pairs right here in Riley Park, and we have 5 nesting pairs of the other hawk, the common one, the red-shouldered hawk. So it's a good habitat. It's good for snakes here, it's good for rodents, and it's good for hawks. So we have lots of hawks and lots of owls. Now this guy, as I said before, you take a look at him. How much do you think he weighs? Let me see some hands. How much do you think he weighs? How about you right there? 50 pounds. 50 pounds? 20 pounds? 30 pounds? 60 pounds? 7 pounds. We're getting a little closer. Anybody else? 8 pounds? 10 pounds. He actually weighs just a little under 3 pounds. And that surprises most people. Most people get much larger, 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds because he looks big. But the thing about birds is they're modified for flight. So he has hollow bones. His bones are not big and chunky like ours. They're modified for flight. So he can fly. He's very light. Also, if you watch my finger, you'll see how far it goes into the fluff. If he lets me on his chest right here. Can you see that? My finger goes way in there. He's a lot smaller than he looks. So he's got a lot of feathers, a lot of fluffy down feathers. And when it's cold, he fluffs them up and it's like a little down jacket. It keeps him warm. And when it's hot like this, he kind of sleeks them out. He makes them sleek like that. Did you have a question?
Yeah.
No, these hawks, he goes after things like squirrels, mice, snakes. He likes those things. But what about those feet? Those are some pretty special feet, aren't they?
Yeah.
Those are modified feet called talons, and that's what he uses to catch his food. So he uses those feet as a weapon to grab his food, like a mouse or a rat. He swoops down on it, he grabs it, he squeezes it real tight. And it's actually pretty quick for the animals, so that it dies quickly and then he eats it. But look at those feet. Do you think that could be dangerous to you? If you found a hawk that got hit by a car on the side of the road, he was still alive, should you try to pick him up? No, because these guys use this not only to grab their food, but as a defense. So let's say you're coming up to him, he thinks you're going to hurt him, he'll flip over very quickly and reach out and grab you with those feet. So you never want to try to get a hawk. If you see one that's injured, you tell a ranger, you tell animal control, and we'll come and help them. Yes.
Do they bite you?
Not generally. A lot of people ask that because he's got that big ripping beak there. That's how he rips the meat, like his mice up. He can rip it up. But he doesn't generally use that to bite. So this is his defense and his weapon right here. Is those big teeth.
He doesn't bite people?
No, not generally. But he is not a pet. So people ask me all the time, can we pet him? No, you won't be able to pet him. We do have some wings that you can touch in the nature center. From a hawk that was hit by a car. But this guy, like I said, he doesn't like to be touched or messed with. It's pretty much a business relationship, and that's what we do. So you can see he can turn his head completely behind him. That's one of his modifications for looking for rodents. He has his eyes take up most of his head, so he can't look shifty-eyed like you and I can. He has something behind him, he has to turn his head to look at it. So he can take his head, turn it completely this way, look behind him. An owl can start this direction and go all the way looking that way. He can go 3/4 of the way around. So that's just how they're modified for flight. If you watch also, another thing he can do is turn his head completely upside down this way. Sometimes when we go into his cage, for some reason, we must look better upside down, because he turns his head completely upside down to look at us. We're not quite sure why he does that. That's cool. Sometimes, you can see over his eye, he's got a little ridge over the top of his eye. What do you guys think that's for? That's a special modification for him, an adaptation for him.
Yes. To help him see better?
It does help him see better, but how does it help him see better? Blocks the sunlight, exactly. It works like a hat. Whoa, look out there. It works like a sun visor or a hat, so it goes over the top of his eye. When he's out looking out across the meadow for a mouse, he doesn't take his wing and go like this. So nature's built in a sun visor for him. So he's modified for that. They also think that it helps protect his eyes. Because sometimes a hawk like this will be flying in the air. You'll see him tucking his wings and he comes stooping down and he can go about 80 miles per hour. So faster than we go on the freeway, this guy is flying through the air. So that little ridge over his eye actually helps the wind to shuffle around his eye so it's not pumping him in the eye. So it works as a protective thing for him. He also has a second eyelid. Some of you might see that there's a little flash of white that comes across. He has two eyelids, one that closes regular like when he's sleeping, and the other one comes across automatic. If he's flying through these trees and something's going to hit his eye, it covers his eye. If he's going into the grass and one of those tall pieces is going to poke him, it covers his eyes to protect him. So he can see through it and it protects his eyes. So he has two sets of eyelids. So he's a pretty cool guy. Does anybody have any questions on this guy?
Oh, man.
You flew back? Yes.
Are crows predators? Is that one of their enemies?
They are enemies. You know, and it kind of depends. We're not sure who's winning. There's a lot of crows, and they're basically when the birds are young, the crows will come in and eat either the eggs or the young birds. And then once they're adults, they badger them all the time. They're always bothering them. So, yeah, they're enemies.
Do they have the ability to kill a hawk?
If it's young and not very experienced, in general, if you see a mobbing a hawk, they're just bothering him. And the hawk every now and then will turn over, flip over to grab at him. That's called a rouse. It means he's pretty comfortable doing his job. Like I said, he's been doing this for about 14 years. And the oldest known red-tailed in the world was banded on Camp Pendleton as a baby bird by one of the local biologists. And that bird died when it was 28 years old. So they can live a long time out there. And like I said, this guy's got about 14 years in him right now. Any other questions? Anybody have any? So he's a pretty cool guy. Like you said, we have him quite a long time. Check out his tail. Okay, we won't keep him out too long, but I will be here for a little while if anybody wants to come up with a question. So if you want to come on up, come on up.